Before I ask the second question, I want to introduce some female writers, Pacific writers, and authors who are researchers. And they offer us a gendered critique or a gendered framework for possibly looking at what's happening here. And they've been writing for well over 10 years now, so they know the history of the region, they know the history of their specific places of locale, and it's applicable, it's useful for us here. The second question is, how do we see the military in Guam? Really, how do we see the military in Guam? And I often turn to an author, Lee Perez. She's a writer and an advocate for tomorrow self-determination. Many of you might know her. Her name is Lee Perez. She's an incredible writer. And a piece that I often turn to that some of you might have heard before is a piece called Inside Out. And I want to read an excerpt because I think it captures well what we might be facing here, and it gives us something to think about. So in the words of Lee Perez, across the fence lay another world. It was another world on the same land. A world we called NAS, Naval Air Station, was one of the several U.S. military force bases on Guam. I was never able to follow the fence to see what it encompassed, but I learned quickly the lingo and the feeling of exclusion it created. We needed an ID, a military identification card, to go inside. They didn't need anything to come outside. Inside lay spectacular cliff-line views and expansive, well-manicured fields. Outside, so I was told repeatedly, held nothing more than a distasteful quagmire of pothole-ridden, mud-lined roadways, indecipherable landmarks, nameless streets run rampant with wild dogs, and other remnants of what some would describe as an uncivilized world. I knew that we were outside the luxuries of what was contained inside the fence. I had visions of the houses I could never see outside. Theirs was an orderly world of tidy streets, neatly kept lawns, showcasing houses straight out of the home section of a Sears catalog. We lived outside, in a rented Quonset hut, marked by an inclined gravel roadway and a proliferation of takebiha. Inside, I had heard kids were paid to do household chores that we did as a matter of course. I used to want what they want. I used to want what they had, or what I thought they had. I mimicked their style of dress and remember wanting a pair of faded blue jeans more than anything. I was ecstatic when, after my relentless nagging, my mom agreed that I could buy one pair of jeans. Her only prerequisite was that they were bought on sale at Townhouse, the old Townhouse. I learned quickly that my success in life would be measured by how well I could emulate inside attributes and suppress outside characteristics. The acquisition of the jeans was soon followed by the purchase of a jacket that would have kept me warm in the tundra, but should have been illegal in this tropical climate. These things could only be followed by my newfound desire for a Brady-inspired family room, separate laundry room, and dining room. It was a tall order for my single-parent mom to fill with our typhoon-proof, compact, yet functional Kaiser home and a teacher's modest salary. I take a minute to read that to you because I feel that when Lee Perez describes the landscape in that way, she ends this piece by saying that the landscape is changing. But she's referring to a time when Nicole Santos jumped the fence and spat on a sentry. And she was saying that the landscape was changing because of the changing politics of the people, that the movement was growing, and that people were beginning to stir about what's happening.